won't take too much time. We are talking all the gun laws inside of the state. We are trying to fix everything. So Florida, we're about to go open carry, and there is a lot of things that actually just don't make sense about us going open carry. One, we need more clarity on what's going on. Like, so Sheriff Mina, who's the Orange County Sheriff, he finally came out and made a statement today. His posture was very different than everybody else's. He was not kind of like how Sheriff Grady is, where he was just super about it and all gung ho. He was a little bit more reserved in terms of how he was talking about it, how he thought about it. So basically, in Orange County, you will be allowed to open carry. They will not violate the rights in the decision by the First District Court of Appeals, but they kind of stress some places that they don't want you to carry and places that they wanted you to be mindful of to not carry in Orange County. But basically, my thought process is that yes, you will be allowed to open carry inside of Orange County. It won't be an issue. But places that you cannot carry, the courthouse, government places, so the same place you cannot conceal carry, you still can't open carry. Government, inside of an airport terminal, schools, colleges, professional athletic events, major stadiums, like I said, any type of government property, really. But some of the things that I think we need to talk about that I don't think anybody else is talking about is how does this change for inside of a car? Like, how does possessing a firearm openly inside of a car change? Because the laws that are written on the books don't, they kind of contradict, like they're already contradicting when it comes to what we have now, like permitless carry. Like everybody probably knows, and if you don't know, an 18-year-old can legally possess a gun inside of a car inside of Florida as long as it is securely encased or not readily accessible. Now, that used to be the standard for everybody who didn't have a concealed carry permit. If you didn't have a permit, it had to be securely encased or not readily accessible. Because we went permitless carry, what ended up happening is you were allowed to carry without a permit if you were 21 plus and you didn't have anything prohibiting you from carrying a gun. You were allowed to do so. So that changed. But what also changed in there is under our concealed carry laws, you're not required to securely encase it or have it not readily accessible. It's just required to be hidden from the ordinary sight. So that then started to apply to inside of the car, which nobody really knew about. I didn't even learn about it until just a couple weeks ago when I started doing deeper research. So there's some Latin term that I don't know how to pronounce, but that started to apply. Now, on June 25th of this year, there was just somebody who was, they were charged with, they weren't charged, it was kind of withheld, but they did end up getting like a little slap on the wrist. They were charged with open carry out of Miami-Dade, and this was actually decided on by the Third District Court of Appeals, which is they're down south instead of up north. So First District is up north in the Panhandle, Third District is down south towards that Miami area. Now, this man's name is Adams versus Adams, so Adams versus state of Florida. His firearm was not in a holster, it was on the passenger seat, and got pulled over. They charged him with open carrying and resisting without violence. Interesting. So the reason they tried to say it was open carry because it was seen in the plain view. You could just see the gun on the passenger seat in Adams, and it was in such close proximity where it could be retrieved and used easily and accessed quickly. Now, there is nothing in our 790.025 bill about open carrying that says a firearm cannot be in plain view. It's assumed, but there's nothing in there that explicitly says that the gun cannot be inside of plain view. Can you say 67? 67. Sorry, just reading this. That's Ani. Is there something wrong with the YouTube mic? Let me know if there's something wrong with the YouTube mic, and I'll fix the YouTube mic. This mic is kind of just hooked up for TikTok right now, but if you're on TikTok, go to YouTube, and YouTube, if it's bad, go to TikTok. But let me continue. So inside of this case, I kind of lost my place and train of thought. Inside of the Adams case, I'll just, kind of, no, I see it like 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. That's just a mic check for them down there, 6-7. I'm gonna keep going and then just be specific. Like instead of having me say that, just be specific in whatever you need from me instead of asking me to say that. I'm losing my train of thought. I appreciate you though, not to go against you. But Adams, in this case, firearm was on the passenger seat, charged him with open carry. They said it was in such close proximity where it could be retrieved and accessed easily. And this was debated on by the Third District Court of Appeals. So the initial judge said that it was not, as a matter of fact, it was not open carried. He was not open carrying a firearm because the firearm wasn't even on his person. But it was in plain view. As I was saying before, now I'm back on track. There's nothing in 799.025 that talks about open carrying a weapon or a weapon being in plain view inside of the car. It says it must be securely encased or not readily accessible. I've argued to people that in the Florida sheriff's definition, where they're kind of outlining some of the criteria that you can actually carry a firearm inside of the car, they say snapped in a holster. They use that as a standalone criteria. They don't necessarily add anything to snapped in the holster that would make me think that it has to also be inside of the center console glove compartment anywhere like that. So my question is a firearm that is in a holster but in plain view on the passenger seat, was that illegal? Was that open carry? Now, something interesting, like I said, this happened, opinion was given by the 3rd District Court of Appeals on June 25th, 2025, and they did not answer, as a matter of fact, if that was considered open carry and in violation of 79.053. In the Adams case, they did not state if it was actually open carry and if he was in violation of the statute because he was in the car. Now, outside the car, we really don't have anything to worry about, because outside of the car, it's kind of clear. My only worry for outside of the car, which I'll dive into this one now, is if I'm at Publix. I personally, like I said, I'm a firearms instructor. I've been teaching for years. I believe in ARs. I carry ARs. Like I do the full thing, which I'll try. I've got to be mindful that I'm on TikTok. I carry all the time. All the time. I do private security. I'm open carrying at least multiple times a week. I don't necessarily want to be in Publix and see somebody with an AR-15 on their back. I know gun people, hang me. They don't like the fact that I say that and how I have this opinion, but like it is just true. If I'm in Publix, I don't really want to see a short barrel rifle or a 16-inch on somebody's back. I don't know the majority of people. I don't know them. I have no idea. Now, granted, everybody's intention is not to go and commit a mass tragedy. I understand that. Most people will just do it because they want to. But the reality is, if I'm using the thing, if I'm carrying the thing for self-defense and to defend myself against a person, reasonably, I can do it with a pistol. Reasonably, I can do it with the pistol. Not saying that, we need to restrict it or anything like that. But for private businesses, and if you're a private business owner and you're seeing this, and I'll clip this for you and I'll put this on LinkedIn. Private business owners, you need to, don't put a no weapons allowed sign. And I was literally just making a video talking about this, but I'm gonna say it here on live too. Don't put a no weapons allowed sign. Like if you're Publix, you haven't had a no weapons allowed sign up to this point, so you don't need to put one, because I've been carrying inside of Publix since the day I could carry, and it hasn't affected anybody inside of Publix. So don't stop me from doing that, because I'm just not going to listen. The sign is not legally enforced in Florida anyway. And if I'm doing it right in concealed carry, you have no idea. So therefore, don't do that. You're going to alienate an entire baseline of your customer and lose your bottom line. What you should do, and what private businesses should do, is put no open carry signs on property. Again, it's still not legally enforced, but then what you have to think about is private security. And when I say private, sorry, Allied is not private. I consider them public. And again, I operate in private security weekly. I'm operating a company right now. Allied is what I consider public security. Why is it public? Because they're dealing with some of the biggest public companies out there. Yo, bro, what's good? How you doing? Oh, so we just got like trolls in this. We just got trolls in the YouTube chat right now. Rowan McDonald, no, have you moved out of your basement yet? Sorry, that was just a very stupid thing that he put on there. I'll ignore that actually going forward. Sorry, bud. I hope you're doing well. I hope your life is good and you're just being a troll. But I don't necessarily want to see people carrying in that manner. Private businesses, put no open carry signs, and then think about hiring private security, especially if you have a business that is open late nights. If the business is open late night, then it's like you're gonna have late night with people inside of your ban from owning guns. Oh, look, y'all, we got something interesting. And they don't know me in this chat on YouTube. We got someone that says ban people of color from carrying weapons. Now let's talk about it. So, in all the tragedies that we've had in this country, most of them have not been done again or done by somebody that looks like me. If we talk about JFK, not me. Martin Luther King, not me. If we talk about the attempt on Reagan, not me. The attack on Lincoln, not me. It is quite funny how the trolls are in here and they want to make these statements. Yet, Charlie Kirk, unfortunately, is not here. Not because of somebody who looks like me, but somebody who probably looks like this individual here. And again, I don't know that because I can't see him. Let's see, what do you got here? I will ignore him. Would you say that it's more dangerous now or back when people really did open carry in this country? I would say it was more dangerous back then. Because like open carry now, like we don't see an increase of violence because people open carry. I don't think there's any correlation in that statistic of increase of violence with people um, who open carry. Like that's not the case. Most acts of violence are committed by people who are already committing crimes, and that's just a matter of fact. Like a criminal is not going to adhere to the law. Most like unaliving somebody is illegal. Yet we still have the issues of unaliving, and just across the states in every state doesn't matter which one. Now there are some states that have a very low capital, like Massachusetts. They have a very low rate of people who are being unalived. So there are things that can be done to be better, but I don't necessarily agree with a lot of Massachusetts laws in terms of the Second Amendment. So in terms of it being open carry, I don't think that's naturally going to just suddenly increase the crime rate around Florida. Like I don't believe that to be the case at all. I do I do think it would just lead to I think it would lead to a lot more confusion and a lot more unrest. I'm in Orlando. I'm still gonna conceal carry. I'm not doing. Yeah, I think most people are gonna go to open carry or are gonna stay concealed carrying. I don't think most people are gonna go to open carry. Which, again, just talking, and this is for all the people who are maybe on the side of anti-gun. We do not agree with like some of the large gun supporter people out there. Like, if we're just talking, I won't call out some of the I don't care. The NRA, Guns Owner of America, all the people, the gun lobbyists that are really pushing for like, oh, we want open carry in all these states and we want 18-year-olds to be open carry. I hate that so much. Like, and again, it's not that I disagree with an 18-year-old being able to open carry, although statistically, most mass tragedies that happen in schools are done between on the average age of a person that's 18. So I do think there is some nuance that can be done there, but they're not pushing for gun education. Like even as we see with all the different county sheriffs coming out making statements about open carrying in their opinion by the first district, how many of them are saying, okay, we're going to educate you on all the laws. We're going to tell you exactly what you can and cannot do. They're really just worried about government buildings, private, like some of the private properties, just places that you can't carry. But there's so many other laws. What about carrying in a car? I have not heard Sheriff Grady talk about carrying in a car and going to the nuances of it. I have not heard him, Sheriff Mina, the OPD chief, I haven't heard any of them really get into depth about carrying in a car in the state of Florida. And it's the sketchiest thing in the state. Like that is the one situation that you will 100% end up in a situation where you are in conflict with the police and you could be right or wrong. Example of the Adams versus State case out of the third district. Like instances, right? And then it's funny because I'll read these comments in a second too. But there was somebody else on YouTube that made a comment and there was like, oh, I don't know where you get your information from because I made the statement regarding Adams. He was like, I've called multiple PD or multiple, sheriff's office and they all said that you're allowed to keep a gun anywhere inside the car, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, great, you called multiple PD offices, but like how many counties and how many PDs are there in the entire state? Did you call all of them to get a continuous opinion? It's like, no, so this county thinks it this way, that neighboring county thinks it that way. But the prosecutor in Miami and the sheriff in Miami thought about it differently and they prosecuted differently on it. So like we need clarification not only from the courts, and we need a lot of, and that's what a lot of my channel is going to become about, is going through case law, because I was reading the statutes more, but once I start reading case law, I was like, oh, there's a different level of understanding in this thing. All right, let me read some of these comments because I've been yapping for a little minute now. Yeah, we're ignoring you, we're ignoring them. Let the haters hate. That's when you know you're saying something right. You're absolutely right about that one. Sorry, I'm one of those people where I do respond to things just a little too much sometimes. So if they were able to open carry, then yeah, I do believe open carry now will affect people just more emotionally. I don't think it will. I don't think it will naturally increase the amount of violence because people don't just commit like people who commit violence usually have a motive behind it. Like if we just think court law or at least just criminal mindset, there's a motive behind most of it. Like no one just is like, oh, I'm gonna just go out today and I'm gonna do this. I mean, some people do, but usually there's a motive behind it because how do you choose who it's gonna be done to? There has to be something underlying there. Violence tool is a relevant mindset. Yes, I agree with you. Violence is violence. There is a more defensive gun use and yeah, the only issue, I agree, there probably is more good use, but the bad use is just so terrible because it's always in a place where people can't be defended, which is another topic that we'll get into with like schools, which is an opinion that I've had for a while, but I probably haven't really said publicly. I personally believe teachers should be allowed to carry. And if you really don't like that opinion, you're more than welcome to, come up here on TikTok and, debate it with me. But here's my reasoning of why I think teachers should be allowed. In all the instances and, mass tragedies at schools that we've had, none of them have been perpetrated by a teacher. None of them. Like, you cannot, if a person can come up here and name me one case of a teacher who committed a mass tragedy at a school, I will change my opinion right now. But I've looked it up extensively. There's not, it's less than 1% of the time, less than 0.01% of the time that a teacher has ever committed one of these tragedies. And some people in the YouTube chat, they're saying like, yeah, they're school protectors. Yes, there is a guardian program. There are teachers already at schools who do carry, but it is not the mass majority of schools that allow teachers to carry. I do think that sign is going up in the shop. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Put that sign up in the shop. I don't want somebody walking into my shop with an AR-15 just strapped across their back. But as I was saying, there has not, like, in terms of schools, we need to allow more teachers to carry because unfortunately the perpetrator for a school is likely going to be between the ages of 17 to 18 on average, like 17 to 18 on average. We as gun owners, especially those of us that have kids, need to be a lot more mindful that your kid can be the one. Everyone wants to think, oh, my kid would never do that. You have no idea. Your kid can be the one. So you need to take extreme precautions with you having firearms in the house and you having kids in the house, especially if your kids are, if they're not as popular. Like, all the things I don't think we've seen. I don't think we've really seen the popular kid go and do it. We don't really see the popular cheerleader, the D1 athlete go and do it. Like, it's always a particular type of kid that has a certain type of response, which I'll go deeper into, unless somebody really has just a different opinion on it. But yeah, I think we need to allow teachers to carry because we don't know when it's going to happen, unfortunately, and if it is going to happen. And the police have to respond. So there's always time. There's always time wasted in terms of police getting there. So I do feel like teachers should be allowed to carry personally, and that could at least protect the students a little bit more. So I'm in Orlando. I'm still carry. Oh yeah, I read that one. Good to see you on live. I've been trying to catch you and get thoughts on open carry. I'm not completely against open carry for the essence of open carry. I will not be doing it personally. I will continue to conceal carry in my civilian life and only carry when I'm on duty, or open carry when I'm on duty. Really, what I want is for lawmakers Ron DeSantis, and I'm not afraid to call out any politician's name. I just only really know him by heart. They need to write comprehensive laws when it comes to carrying inside of a car, when it comes to what we're allowed to do inside a person. For example, Texas. Texas is naturally one of the states that we see open carry like the most. It's like, you think gun laws, you think Texas. In Texas, in order to carry a handgun, the handgun must be in a holster. Like, the handgun must be in a holster if you're going to open carry a handgun in public. So I think that is comprehensive. I think that is smart. A holster is my golden rule of definition. If you scroll through all of my TikTok videos, I've been saying it for years. Holster is the number one thing that I think we need. So I wish they would do that. Something else Texas has is a weapon is not allowed to be in plain view inside of a car unless it is inside of a holster and the person either is 21 or has a LTC, which is a license to carry in Texas. I think that's important. Like, that is very comprehensible. That is very direct in terms of what they're saying. It cannot be in plain view if it's not in a holster. So, and that's one of my questions that we have. So in the case I was just mentioning to you guys, Adams versus State, his firearm was in plain view and it was not in a holster. So in Texas, he would have been violating the law. In Texas, he would have been violating the law not for open carrying, but for maybe mis or improper storage laws, which is what one of the initial judge initially said. He said he may be, have improper storage, but he's not open carrying for the simple fact if it's not even on his person. So I think we need something like that in Texas. Let me keep reading some of these comments and catch up. And then definitely want to come and take your course. All right, just Anthony, yeah, dog, message me and we can set a class up. I just booked one earlier today, so just message me and we can get something going for you. I will read you guys on YouTube too when I educate myself a little bit more. Look, brother, I'll do my best to educate you by just simply hopping on here and just yapping my mouth about these things because I do feel very passionately about these things. And it's funny because in the company, I've been feeling like I've not reached a plateau, but like I can teach somebody how to hit the X, like we can go to the range and like I can get you comfortable. And it does make a difference on the local level, but on a national level, like we have an issue. People are hurting because of this. People lose their family members. What can we, and like I said, I don't feel like the industry takes the stance of like, hey, can we find a middle ground? Like, we want to keep this good guy with the gun, we should open carry and don't infringe, but like there's so much nuance that can be in this conversation that they just don't go for. They don't go for it. I don't believe a good guy with the gun always stops a bad guy with the gun because I've seen good guys with guns run away. I've seen them run away. Now, the difference, the person with the gun has to be trained and they have to be in the mindset of they are willing to put their life on the line in order to go and do that task. Not everybody's doing that. Not every cop is doing that. We see it all the time. So to just say the good guy with the gun, they have the possibility, but are they mentally about it? Not everybody's mentally about it. YouTube, I swear I'll get back to you in a second. I'm reading these up here. I wonder how Halloween and DTO will be this year. I think that they need to make downtown, like when they have, and when they section off downtown, like they need to make that a gun-free zone. Like for the simple purpose of it being downtown, which OPD chief has said that they can't do that because we went permitless carry, so they can't. But I'm like, you can create a. Can you not get a special requirement that this is a downtown area and then you have metal detectors on the way coming into the downtown area and not allow open carry in these instances? I feel like there's a special city ordinance between the chief of OPD and then Mayor Buddy Dyer. Not Mayor Buddy Dyer. Jerry Demings. Sorry, Mayor Jerry Demings. Like Jerry Demings used to be the chief of Orange County, so between him, Sheriff Mina, and OPD, like you guys can figure out something, and between all the other commissioners, like you could figure out something. So I've been wondering if you have a Florida medical license, can you still get a gun license? That is being deliberated. I would have to go back and figure out where that case last left off. Oh my God, let me go to YouTube. I'd have to figure out where that case last left off, but there was a court case pending where it basically said it was kind of unconstitutional to say that somebody with a medical license couldn't get a they couldn't carry a gun simply because they have a medical license. Like that doesn't, especially if they have a medical license and they're a law-abiding citizen by doing it legally, even though it's federally banned, the laws contradict, and there is a case pending in court. I'd have to go and find it though. Reading YouTube. I am the light, the way. Just keep going down. People think twice about committing violence if they walk into a store and there are people having a rifle slung on their back. Yeah, I mean, people should think twice about it, but honestly, if you're open carrying, like somebody can likely just, they'll just come after you next. Like you'll be the person. So we're reading the YouTube comments next. Teacher carry is a concern when it comes to females. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean when it comes to females? Because like like female teachers, it's an issue, or females, like female students, it's an issue because in most of the cases we've seen, it's been female teachers that will have an inappropriate relationship with a male student. It's not typically a male teacher that has an inappropriate relationship with a female student. There could be cases, like don't get me wrong, there probably are cases out there where that's the case, but most of the time it's a female teacher having an inappropriate relationship with a male student. And again, we've never seen a female teacher nor a male teacher on a large scale commit an act of violence against a school that they go to. And let's be clear, they have the complete capability to. They're of age. They have access to the school. They deal with the same annoying students that may cause torment of somebody else's life that ends up going to do that. So they have the means and the capability to do so. I mean, even if with a 3-day waiting period, like a teacher has the means to do so. They just don't, statistically they don't. And I think it's because they have a reason to live, which is to teach the students. Our schools need to be protected. Yes, they do. Can an 18-year-old buy? Absolutely not. An 18-year-old is not allowed to purchase. In any state, it is a federal law that you're not allowed to purchase at 18 years old. You must be 21 years or 21 years or older to purchase. Now, in some states, you are allowed to open carry at 18, like in Kentucky and some other states, you're allowed to carry, but you are not allowed to purchase, especially if we're talking about a hand pew, which I got to remember I'm on TikTok. A hand pew, you are never allowed to purchase at 18 because it is a federal law that has been in place since like 1930 something. That's good. Point J. Yes, Shane. As someone who's been a gun enjoyer, and I have many. So let's talk about because someone brought up a very good point where they feel like there should be better background checks into mental health. That can be the case, but what if a person has never been Baker acted or Marshall acted? Like when we say mental health, we have to be very specific about what it is, and that is another one of the things that I hate is we say mental health. That is the umbrella. There is schizophrenia. There's schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, psychopathy, sociopath. Like there's a lot of different. There's depression. There's I don't know how to say that other one, but suicidal. You know, if you catch my drift, you know, there's a lot of different mental health illnesses out there. And so another one of the things I hate that the leftists, or I won't say the left, excuse me, I don't believe in saying the left, that gun rights groups have just tried to adopt in general. It's just saying, oh, they're in a mental health crisis. Oh, they're mentally distraught. Like, yes, but tell me which one. All of them just use it as a buzzword. Tell me the mental health issue that they are going through. Tell me the mental illness that they are going through. Are they depressed? Usually you can figure out so. In this latest case of it being targeted, how did that go down? Like, we need, so the background checks can be good. I'm not opposed to bigger background checks and deeper background checks. I've taken a psych eval when I was going to be a federal when I was applying to be a federal officer. That thing was like 561 questions, and every 20 questions they would ask you, do you think somebody's out to get you? Like, yes, those can help, but at a certain point, even having taken it for the first time, it wasn't anything hard. Like, it was like, if you're not disassociated from life and like you can read and comprehend, you can pretty much figure out how to answer all of those questions. So you can do a deeper mental health background check, but that doesn't mean a person that is depressed or having self-harm tendency, we'll use that, having self-harm mentality, doesn't know how to intellectually get through a psych eval or psych test. So that's my only argument against psych evals and psych tests is they don't stop the individual who later on does decide to go further and, you know, degrade further in their mental and then have issues there. One of these things get the same amount of bureaucracy and as taxes and the DMV, teachers, yes, otherwise no. Yeah, I mean, if we want to mandate that the teachers have a license, I'm not against it. I'm not against mandating that the teacher have a license. I also think that the teacher should go through other rigorous training because you're going to be, for the teacher in the situation where I'm talking about, which if you just got here, I made the assertion that I think teachers should be allowed to carry in schools to protect their students simply because they are the first line of defense. A lot of the teachers probably already conceal carry. I know for a fact teachers conceal carry in their personal lives because I've had them come up to me and talk about it. I used to teach at a high school. I've taught at two different high schools, but the last time I taught was the time I could officially carry. I know for a fact that teachers carry and that they carry in their personal lives, and that if they're willing to protect their families and they already do this, like, yeah, they should be allowed to do it at school. But again, I do think they should go through more training because you're going to be in a higher tense situation where you're an active responder. And as an active responder, most people have never been through that. Like, you don't know what it's like when you have to make a decision in 3 seconds. Like, again, I got a video coming out with more of my body cam so y'all can kind of see what I'm really saying. But when there is when there's an active shooting and you are the person that has to respond to it and go save life, you have seconds to evaluate 12 decisions. You have 12 things you have to think about, and you have 3 seconds to evaluate it, think about it, and then go make a decision. That takes a different level of training than just going to the range, standing and, you know, hitting a piece of paper on the other end at, you know, 7 5 yards, whatever it is. So I agree with you. I do think they should have a concealed carry permit, or even more like the Guardians program, where they're required to do a certain amount of training per month. Change my opinion. Thanks for the new angle. I'm glad somebody's opinion could be changed. I'm in Northport, Florida, and EDC and CC race, absolute arrestable offense. I'll read that again in a second. You need more insight information before you say teachers carry. I mean, I think I just gave more context to the fact that I say teachers can carry. Like, yes, teachers should be allowed to carry. Statistically, we've never seen a teacher commit a shooting. We've never seen one. So even without the training, if we're worried about the teachers committing an act, we've never seen it happen. Less than 0.1% of the time. We can go all the way back to what, Columbine. From that point to right now, how many times has it been a teacher? Never. If we look up now sometimes, don't get me wrong, in the last one that just happened in, what was it, Minnesota, that person was an outlier in terms of age, where they were 23, not excusing it, not trying to justify these things at all, but they were an outlier where they were a little bit older than the typical, you know, school perpetrator. That's an outlier. We have never seen really a person 40 plus, 40 plus, 35 plus, 30 plus, 28, you know, for the most part. We never really seen them go and commit one of these acts against a school. So I think it's very different there. So should I still consider getting a CC permit from Florida? I'd say, yeah, you should still consider getting one, because I mean, you can watch these videos and, you know, go to my YouTube, and I'm educating you on a lot of these laws for free anyway. So you are getting the education, but you know, you should still get one, because one, if you want to travel and carry out of state, a lot of times you still need the permit. Like, not every state is constitutional carry. Some states, even though they are constitutional carry, they still might require that you have a permit. So it is Excuse me. It is still worth getting one for that reason. I wish NY becomes open carry. Good luck. NY was one of the first states to actually enact a carry permit, so that will probably never happen. No, it's not necessary unless you want one. It's open carry now. That not just because it's open carry, not just because it's open carry, concealed carry. It's not necessary unless you want one. Yes, but not because it's open carry. Let's not glorify open carry that much because it really means nothing in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. Can you have both, but cannot carry while have? Yeah. So, oh yeah, you make a very valid point. So you can get both of them. Yes, technically you cannot purchase. I'm sorry, I'm um, yeah. Which this is why I need to get a second phone because I can't take business calls if I'm on live like this. But yes, you can have both of them. You just, like you said, you don't want to have be in possession of both of them at the same time. Wait for case law to proceed because from the case law I've read, I've seen people get hemmed up simply for having possession, even if it wasn't on their person, like in their home. It depends on the state, and if it then like here's to sum up for the medical card, excuse me, the medical card and the concealed carry card is if you have both of them, one, you cannot purchase from a licensed FFL dealer anymore, so that then negates. And then if it's a local, if you use self defense and your case is tried locally, it's good. But if you have some wiggle room. But if your case suddenly goes to federal level, where it has to be decided by a federal judge, then you get screwed a little bit more because it's federally illegal still. So the federal judge has to apply federal rules, where the local judge has more leeway to apply local state laws to it. So that's where it gets sketchy. And I stopped talking about it because after reading the case law, it's like it really doesn't. You really don't know which way it's going to go and how the case is going to be brought up inside of courts. Treat it like classic weekend. Yeah. Oh, yes, you can come and get your concealed carry license with me. My number is in the TikTok bio. It is not on the screen anywhere, but you can get in contact with me. They don't dress accordingly. Oh, they don't dress accordingly as female teachers. That could be changed. I mean, I'm not a female, so I don't care, but I've seen some really good female concealed carry instructors that, give different ways that it could be carried and you can't see it. So I don't care how they carry it as long as they are willing to do the job when it comes downtime. I don't care where it is. I mean, on their person, yes. So let me clarify that. Needs to be on their person, absolutely. But for a female teacher that wants to conceal carry, anywhere it is on your person, as long as it cannot be seen with the ordinary sight and nobody can get access to it, like I don't care as long as you're willing to do the job with it in the end. So I don't discriminate whether male teacher, female teacher. I don't care. It's whoever. I almost might want the female teacher more because that mama bear instinct might kick in and she might really send it there. And from teaching females, they are better than men when it comes to this activity. They just are. Don't care. Argue me all you want. And the hundreds of females I have taught, they are typically better than men. Even if they have never used one a day before in their life, they're better than men at it. Just is. I've seen it too much. Is. This is why I didn't let them diagnose me with PTSD. Absolutely. Like that's one of the issues. So one of my friends in here, we talked about the mental health background checks, and this is a valid point that a lot of vets have made as well. It's like if they get diagnosed with PTSD, do they then lose their Second Amendment right because they have a mental health disorder? And the person may say that, oh, they're more likely to commit violence or have a mental break because they have PTSD, so we're not going to allow them to have a gun. It's like the mental health checks, while I do understand where the argument comes from, it's too easily abused. It's too easily abused, and I don't think it can be applied too consistently based off the context of someone's past. And again, we're kind of enter this call right now. Um, yeah, we can't answer calls right now. Why am I not on do not disturb? I should be. Um, yeah, sorry. If you're on this live and you're trying to call me right now, which I don't know how you would be trying to call me while being on the live too, just wait till I'm off the live, please. I can't do two things, and I also would not want to take a business call on live. I like to keep those things kind of separate. This is strictly for content and education more than business, although business is naturally a part of it. Should I conceal carry with my shorts? Yeah, go ahead. Leisure Carry is a good company that you can go to if you want like something to kind of help if the shorts aren't secure enough. Leisure Carry, I actually have a affiliate link coming with them soon. I just haven't really set it up. But Leisure Carry, if you go to them, leisurecarry.com, or just Google Leisure Carry, you should be able to find out information about them. And that doesn't make you disqualify. You can get PSD from a car accident. When it comes to Nina D, he's actually right. It can disqualify you because it doesn't matter where, what the mechanism was of the PTSD. It just matters that you have it. So even as a car accident, like you're saying, if you have PTSD, how do we know you have PTSD? How do we know that you are not going to suddenly snap and then go and commit an act of violence? There aren't subcategories of PTSD. Like, sure, you can have severe, mild, sure, like, but those are still just general statements as opposed to like, oh, you have war trauma PTSD. You have PTSD from being, shot at, or you have PTSD from a car accident. How do they differ? How does the brain differentiate between the fear or whatever you feel, the anxiety that you feel at the end of it? So that's where you want to be. That's why the mental health checks, a lot of vets argue against it because it's just too, it's like, yeah, sure, I may be sad and have my PTSD is really because I saw a teammate dying, like I'm just sad about it, or be unalived. I'm sorry, TikTok. I'm sorry, TikTok. I saw a teammate be unalived, and that's where it comes from. Or I just really miss that person, and sometimes I get triggered and like go back to the times that we had together. It doesn't mean that they're going to commit an act of violence. So that's where that difference really comes in at. There are so many loopholes when it comes to mental health and getting firearms. Yeah, I mean there just are. It's true. What federal agency you was with? I was gonna be with NASA. I was going to. I did not. I did not go through with that process. We had a difference in opinion, and I was not able to continue through. Teachers should get a firearm and a bulletproof vest. I actually do have an affiliate with Backpack Armor, which it'll stop most pew rounds from a smaller caliber perspective. Let me go to YouTube too. Let me keep scrolling here. Simon, what's up, brother? Good guy. This is appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, Marcos. Probably didn't want me to say your name, but anyway. This is not superhero, camp crusader, and crime fighter. Yeah, I carry it for self defense. Granted, like I have been in a number of situations where I have stopped a mass tragedy from happening at the location that I was contracted to be at, but man, our mentality during that time in life was very different. Like we were extremely aggressive, and not aggressive in like, I don't know how to say it, like not aggressive in a bad way, but aggressive in towards of like we will create a barrier between the location where we have clients and people at and then where this incident is happening. So pretty much if you were to take a shot at us from anywhere within, I think we had like 100 yards. It was like 100 yards this way and then like 300 that way. We would run towards you. We would run towards you. And in that one, we all learned the lesson of like, this is what it means when they say run towards the danger. It is the dumbest thing you can do. But when you do it with the mentality of going to protect somebody, it's just this different feeling that you have of like, okay, especially when you also do it with teammates, people that you trust, people that have your back. It is a different feeling of like, okay, I will do everything in my power to protect this place right now. And honestly, I got into armed security after Pulse. I'm still reading comments too. But Florida's now, yes, so Florida is, it is now an open carry state. Like it's not, someone was trying to say like, oh, we have to wait on the Supreme Court's opinion. Yes and no. So after the 25th is, so there's a 15-day period between the ruling and then when it will actually enact. In this 15 days, which we are in the middle period right now, the state can basically try to argue it again and petition it up to the Supreme Court. The state will likely not do that because if we read, excuse me, if we read the opinion given by the First District Court of Appeals, they've already said that the state failed to basically prove how there's a historical tradition of banning open carry totally inside of the founding time of the country. So and really there is, and this is because of Bruen. So previously the Supreme Court had a case Norman where they did uphold the open carry ban. But because Bruen passed after Norman, which Norman was 2017 and Bruen was 2022, because Bruen passed, based off the New York Rifle Pistol Club and the Supreme Court case there in Bruen, now anytime that firearms regulations are examined, it has to be done in the historic. Norman, they had to examine it through Bruen, and because they examined it through Bruen, they could not find how in the founding time there would have been a complete open carry ban. There was no laws, there was nothing back then that would have banned it totally. Regulate it, sure, but ban it, no. Therefore, they overruled it. So all that to say, there is likely no way that the Florida Supreme Court is going to go against the First District. One, all the courts are pretty much upheld under each other. The first district is acting off the same standard that the highest Supreme Court in Washington D.C. was acting on. Therefore, if the first district is acting off that, naturally, Florida Supreme Court is going to fall in the same line, which is why we see individual sheriffs coming out saying that, yeah, we're going to allow it. Pre sketchy, if it was controversial, if there was a feeling that it wouldn't be passed, you wouldn't see sheriffs doing it because a 15-day period wouldn't make sense to allow it. Most likely, we can guarantee that Florida will be open carry after the 25th. I don't see any. It would be a huge upset. It would be a major surprise if the Florida Supreme Court suddenly was like, no, we're gonna keep it banned. It would then probably get petitioned up to the DC Supreme Court, which I don't know. I feel like that one is the highest one in the land. So, yes, all that to say, Florida will definitely become a permanent or a open carry state very soon. I'm telling my nephew while he plays with his toys. Yes, go ahead, build that discipline early with your nephew. I believe in it. The state of Illinois has some weird. Illinois will not honor my Georgia CCW permit. Yes, so any individual state has the right to not honor another state's permit, and I don't think Illinois honors any other state's permits. I can check it real quick though. If we're going to the Illinois, yeah, they don't even honor my Florida permit, brother. Like it's just not a thing for real. Read some more of these comments. Oh, let me just get to the reciprocity. Non-residents are only available for. Yeah, so here's the crazy thing about Illinois. They honor states, other states' non-residents license are only available for residents of Arkansas, Idaho, Mississippi, Nevada, Texas, Virginia. In terms of reciprocity, oh no, I lied. So, in terms of reciprocity, Illinois does not honor a CCW license from any other state. Yeah, but the only states that could get licensed inside of the state are Arkansas, Idaho, Mississippi, Nevada, Texas, and Virginia. Don't ask me why they have those random states. I don't know why, but those are the only people that could get a non-residence license from Illinois. But yeah, they ban pretty much everybody's CCW across the country. Nobody's allowed to get in with one. We're going to ignore you. Backpack fight with your, you can get your backpack. Yep, that is not true. You can purchase. Yeah, if you notice, I said hand pews, not long guns. So long guns, sure, but handguns, you are not allowed to purchase at 18. It is a federal law. No state allows you to purchase a handgun at 18. You are wrong. And that is breaking up a fight is a whole nother argument. This is why SROs do not break up fights. I lost context of what they're talking about. You just said it. People are. Man, YouTube is full of some, you gotta like really sift through what's happening on YouTube here. Sorry, TikTok, if kind of, I don't say kind of ignoring you, but I just gotta like, oh, that was the luckiest thing that could have happened to me just now. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna put you guys, nope, I'm gonna leave you guys right here. I'm gonna leave you right here and I'm gonna just keep looking up and down. I'm gonna keep scrolling on TikTok because, sorry, I had a lot of traffic on both. And these lives for me are just kind of, I won't say they're thrown together, but they're kind of done on a whim. So I don't have like a specific system. Logan, what's up, brother? Be safe out there if you're on duty tonight, even though it's Monday. Most of us aren't really. Yes, you can gift a handgun to somebody or a pew to somebody who is under 21. Yes, you are allowed to do so. They are pushing for a 50-state reciprocity on a federal level. Honestly, they will never get a 50-state reciprocity. They will never get one. The reason they won't get a 50-state reciprocity in America is because every state has their own constitution. Because every state has their own constitution, you cannot force another state to accept another state's gun license. You can't do it based off of that. Like, there's no way in DC he can force Gavin Newsom in California to accept Florida. He just can't do it based off the state's constitution. And it's kind of like America's built like a house of cards for that reason. Like, if, God forbid, DC were to fall, every state would just become their own individual country. That's why every state has a constitution. But yeah, there's no way. I mean, a 50-state reciprocity should be allowed. Like, a gun license should operate just like your driver's license. It doesn't, which I do think is, again, one of the issues that we still have in the country. Is like, we need to make all these things happen together. Like you said, we can examine some of the states that are doing it the best, examine the states that are doing it the worst, and then try to find a middle ground in there. But in terms of a 50-state reciprocity, they are not going to. That will not happen. Um, if that's the case, they would have forced New York City. Yeah, they just can't. Like America's built in a way that that will never happen. And if that does happen, just know that America, like the American democracy, has fallen. Like America is not the same country that it was in the beginning at that point. Nursing is better than me. Oh yeah, you're talking about how females are better. Yes, they just are, man. Females are just at this activity, and honestly, the reason that females are usually better at this activity is because they don't have ego. Like a lot of guys will watch movies, they watch Call of Duty, and they want to be super strong. They want to manhandle the thing, and females are just like, just tell me what to do, I will do that thing and nothing more than that thing. And usually, when they do that, if you can explain the proper way to do it, they just do it. Like it's like okay, great. If I did it multiple times in a row, great. They're not really looking to be like an expert like a man is. And for all those that really want to improve, honestly, just take yourself to baseline. Like just truly work the basics, the basics. Don't, especially if like you're just struggling with like left, pulling right, wherever, and you're just not consistent in the same place every time. Where it's like you want to hit that spot and you can't hit that spot 10 times in a row. Work the absolute basics. I can't tell you anything more than that because I would need to individually see you or at least get an understanding of what your issues are and what you're kind of seeing to give you any more guidance. State of Illinois has some weird. Okay, so I've caught up there. I'm trying to catch up with all these comments now, especially in Illinois and New York. They're way better at it. Yeah, they don't have to unlearn bad habits. Yeah, literally, like when they don't have to unlearn bad habits, they are just. It makes it so much easier for them. You are too young to proclaim that you have seen too much. What? Your graduate thesis is surrounding firearms? Tell me what you got on your thesis so far. I'm not saying teachers will be violent. You assuming the argument. I don't know if you're talking to me. Sorry, YouTube. I just like um sorry YouTube, I just wasn't paying attention to the chat. So I don't really know where we are. I'm moving from New Jersey to Florida next Thursday. I can't wait to get away from up here. I work a oh, Jesus. Somebody unalived 4 people up there in New Jersey. That is technically a mass tragedy. Yeah, don't use hand sanitizer during an attack. Dude, you're too young to proclaim that you have seen too much of it. In addition, spend time in a school more than just a year. That will not do anything in court under public opinion. Erwin Morris, what are we saying right now? Illinois will allow you to carry, just not on your person. You can conceal in the car. Well, I have Illinois laws pulled up right here. I have Illinois laws pulled up right here. So it says Illinois is a shall issue state, meaning that Illinois State Police must issue a concealed carry license if the applicant meets the certain criteria to get one, which is the definition of that. Open carry of a handgun on your person or in a vehicle is illegal. So you cannot open carry a handgun on your person. In Illinois, you need a CCL is required to conceal a firearm. And so if you need a CCL to have a firearm, the only places, if you're not a resident there, that you could get one is Arkansas, Idaho, Mississippi, Nevada, Texas, and Virginia. Reciprocity, which means you can travel to that state. Illinois does not honor CCW license from any other state. So, Illinois laws require residents to have a firearm owner identification card, FOID, and to possess a firearm or ammunition FOID card without a CWO can legally carry unloaded, or in case you must be 21 years older to apply for a parent or guardian sponsored who, okay, so yeah, like you can continue to talk to me, Erwin Morris, but I don't really know what you're saying that I'm not tracking on. I'm a little confused by your boy. A little confused by your brother. So you just gotta update me. Like in terms of like you said, just carry the last comment you made. Illinois will allow you to carry just not on your person. You can conceal in the car. No, you can't. Because if you don't have a permit and you're concealing in the car, you're in possession of a concealed, which is a crime. So you will be charged with possession of a concealed, which is usually a third-degree felony, depending on the state. So I don't know where you're getting that information from. But moving on, more things that we could talk about. How do some of y'all feel about different laws? How do some of y'all feel about open carry inside of your state? Or if you're in Florida, how do you feel about it in this state? I know a lot of people are worried. A lot of people, they're really cautious about what's going on because there's been no clear guidance, and I feel that there has been no clear guidance given. Um, there's been no clear guidance. See ya, Ant. There's been no clear guidance given by the state. It's just that, oh, you can open carry, but it's like, what does that mean? What can you legally do? What are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? So, how do you guys feel? Um, what are your thoughts? I don't care about it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm with you. We need CCW reciprocity. I'm with you. I don't mind because if they feeling froggy, oh, this is clear Florida. This is clear. I could tell all of you people are probably from Florida. Feeling froggy, they can jump. I could tell you guys are from Florida. Oh man. Yeah, honestly, like that's what I'm trying to tell most people. It's kind of like when we went permitless carry, everybody thought it was like, oh my god, there's about to be a civil war. I'm from, oh my god, Jax Duval. You gotta watch them girls from Jax. You don't know what they gonna do. Um, I'm just messing with you, but you do gotta watch them girls from Jax. You gotta watch Jax all together. Um, but yeah, people when we had permitless carry, people just thought it was gonna get super crazy here. Obviously, it didn't. Like we did not see that many things change. It was pretty even Steven amongst it. We just had people that were uneducated in laws, in which we still have people that are uneducated. So that's where it's just on people like me. Is there any way you can clarify a few of the new weapons laws they have been passed in Colorado that will prohibit the sale of semi-autos? Let's go to Colorado. Let's see. I don't mind bouncing over states real quick. Colorado. Again, if you guys have any specific questions, go ahead, ask those specific questions, and I can dive deep into it. Keep this live going for a while. I don't know. I've almost been on for an hour. I'm gonna stop that recording for YouTube now. YouTube Live is gonna keep going, but I was recording separately. What did she say? My dad is a state cop, so I try to stay up on it. All right, all right. So at least we know you ain't no knucklehead, because daddy will arrest you. At least we know she got a good head on her shoulders. Um, bum, 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 bum. So you said laws that passed in Colorado that prohibit the sale of semi-automatics. I don't know how they could prohibit the sale of semi-automatics considering all civilian firearms are semi-automatics, which is a new thing. When they say fully semi-automatics, that is a buzzword they are using in the news. It quite literally means nothing. Um, like all civilian weapons, they're just semi-automatics. It means you pull the the device one time to make the thing go boom, and then you have to pull it again in order to make it go boom again. Um, Self-defense laws. Let me try to find it. I don't know where there is a band. I'm actually on 15. We're looking up. Somebody just asked me to look up Colorado laws about how they're banning the sale of semi-autos, but I don't really know how this is possible. How could you ban the sale of semi-autos if... Okay, so the site that I'm on, it's not really giving me that info. Oh, of rifles. Um, I'd be curious if that's even legal for them to do. Like, and obviously, like they could do it, and then until like we have right now in Florida, where somebody just brings this up and gets it to the District Court of Appeals, where it actually gets evaluated. I don't know if they can. Well, I mean, I guess they can because there are states that have a rifle ban. So that is definitely a thing that will not be illegal. Wait, I see right there, assault weapon ban. Oh, okay, I got you here. In April 2025, Gov. Pillis signed a bill banning and buying, selling, and manufacturing of mini semi-automatic weapon, passing 2 background checks and obtaining a permit. The law goes into effect in August of 2026. Okay, so you guys have a little bit of time. Signed a bill banning, buying, selling, and manufacturing of mini without oh, okay, so they just want you to pass a level 2 check. So they want you to pass a level 2, which is an FBI check. So they want you to pass an FBI level background check. And I just went through one of these. I mean, sure, they're probably, so what they do for the most part, and I don't know if they do this in every level 2 check, but I know some of the times like they'll go through your social media, and they'll just dig a little deeper, like a little deeper into you than the basic one. But if you can reasonably, I see if you could pass a level 1 check, you usually could pass a level 2 check. Like, there's not much, there's a little bit of a difference, but there's not much besides the fact that they'll check your social media. So that could be, which maybe that's what we add in. I never really, I don't know why. Literally, my brain has just never considered going through a level 2 check. Granted, level 2 checks usually take a little bit more time, so that's probably where we get into like the hindrance of it, where a level 2 check, like, that's not going to pass same day. Like, literally, sometimes in Florida, and for most regular background checks, like, you can submit it, refresh, and as soon as you refresh, you've passed. A level 2 check, likely you will never go through that. You will not pass within a matter of seconds, because they actually have to like dig into your background. So I am located in Central Florida, girly. So we are at least like 2 hours away. Um, there are ranges up there in Jacksonville that I'd be willing to take a trip to, but it need to be a class large enough to basically make the trip worth it. Um, but contact me 407-501-8369, and we can figure out something to set up on the backside. I am not above traveling. It just usually has to make sense when I'm going to go do so. Oh, you're in Central Florida. Oh, well, that works out easier then. Still text me 407-501-8369, and we can set something up. That's easy work then. Easy work. Um yeah, so Shane on YouTube, that's pretty much all that really looks like it's changing. Is they're not really banning it. You just can't get one if you can't pass a level 2 background check. Passing 2 background checks. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself again. Let me correct myself because I just saw the 2, but I'm like half dyslexic and some days it just says passing 2 background checks. I have no idea, and obtaining a permit. I have no idea what the 2 background checks would be. Let's try to look that up. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to use a special, like what other I don't know why they just wouldn't do a level 2 background check instead of saying 2 background checks. What 2 back? Colorado. Let's see what it gives me. To legally, must pass 2 background checks, one through the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, so, okay, the Colorado FBI, and the other one is through the NICS system. Okay, so just doing more research and not just trying to read fast. The NICS check, you can likely pass that one quick. That's just the one that everybody pretty much goes through. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI, I mean, it's pretty much the same as the FBI, I'd assume. So that one is probably going to be the one that takes a little bit longer. I don't know how long it would actually take. NICS is used to cross-reference the CBI results with federal records. So yeah, they're pretty much going to see it like, have you been on any watch list, which may be a little bit, a little more, because if you've been flagged by the FBI, local PD might not know and might not have that information. So being able to cross-reference those two maybe will allow them a little bit more. But again, that one is, I don't know. I'm about that one. I guess I'm not against it. Just overall, like, I'm not against it at all. I'm not against there being 2 background checks. It will, like I said, it will make you have to wait a little bit longer in order to get it. But if we see that it actually helps deter gun violence, then sure. But if it doesn't, I'm not with it. And which I don't know how many. This is also something I've just been thinking about, and it's like, for all the people that they'll say, oh, we need to just get rid of them. Who? Which I don't even know if I want to give this opinion. I'm not afraid to call Ron DeSantis' name out, but this next opinion is one that is extremely strong. One, depending on where you stand on the political spectrum. Sorry, but I'm a believer in history, right? And we keep talking about how we're in a constitutional crisis, but I think we forget the document that became before the Constitution, which is the Declaration of Independence. And the Declaration of Independence, people in the Second Amendment love to talk about, tyrannical government. What is the definition of a tyrannical government? Well, let's look at the 27 grievances of the Declaration of Independence. That kind of outlines what a tyrannical government is. And so the reason that I am not for getting rid of everything all at once is because, or all the pews at once, is because I feel like the pews are the only thing that's keeping us at bay right now. And so I'll go down this one. Live will end in 5 minutes unless I put this thing there. There we go. I will not end the live. Um, let's go around this thing there. How we talked about let's talk about a little current events. We'll go slightly off topic, but still on topic. So if we look at how the National Guard went inside of California, right? Even how the National Guard is inside of DC right now. We've seen the National Guard be in these places, but we have not seen where we did not see the National Guard go was South Central Los Angeles. We did not see the National Guard walking down Crenshaw. We did not see the National Guard walking down Figueroa. We did not see the National Guard walking down any of the streets that people have been willing to unalive themselves behind of or get into serious altercations behind of. And why is that? Because there are weapons there. Because there are people that are willing to use it, even though they'd be using it in a crime. And I am not advocating for the violence of anybody or against anybody, but I am simply stating a matter of fact in the situation of we did not see the National Guard going to these places because there could be the potential of violence happening there. That is an important thing to just take note of in terms of Gap's dead. What up, brother? It's just an important thing to pay attention to in terms of human psychology and just how things are moving. The firearms have to stay in place, and why we cannot get rid of all of them is because it's the only thing that keeps everything 100% in checks, even though it's being misused in a way. And I know it's tough to say, and that, I mean, it's not really tough for me to say. I don't believe in getting rid of all the weapons at all. I just don't believe in it because, again, if we did, we'd see a lot more issues starting to take place. The other reason I don't think we could reasonably ever get rid of all the weapons is because it would take weapons to get rid of weapons. Like, if we were to say, okay, we're going to get rid of all the weapons, we're going to get rid of everything, all the pews inside of the country we're going to get rid of. How can we practically do it? One would be a buyback plan. If we do a buyback plan, we would have to try to compensate each person for the amount that they have. And some people have a lot. It's just too much money to compensate on that level. And then to do that to everybody, if everybody has at least 5, statistically, like I consider myself a not major owner, but I still have at least 5. So you have to compensate me for all 5 in a different way. And you can't just do a flat, like you're not going to pay me $50 for each. That ain't going to happen. So even 120 is like, there's not a single one of those things that costs 120. The one that I carry every day is a $1,500 like piece of equipment. That's a lot. You're not going to offer me 120 for a $1,500 piece of dollar equipment. So I don't think it works in that way. The next thing that I don't think they talk about when they say, like, let's just take them all away, or practically like talk about that idea, is how do you go and take them? If we take them, we'd have to get rid of the 4th Amendment. I don't own any, but I'm sure glad my neighbor does. I mean, yeah, at least the neighbor does. They might help you out. But invite Dr. Elijah Francois, PhD, to co-host now. See, here's one of the interesting things that I don't really understand about TikTok yet. I don't know if like that was you simply wanting to come on. Like when I see it says invite all these people. Oh, co-host with creator. Okay, wait, I'm learning something new on TikTok. I think I just figured out how to let people on in case you wanted to come on. Co-hosting with, no, are these just people that are like just co-hosting? Co-host with creators. This is just creators in general. Okay, yeah, so that is not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted at all. Yeah, I literally just I don't really know how to work TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little goofy when it comes to that. Going back to what I was saying though, it would take, like, I don't believe in sending officers with weapons in order to go into people's house and take their weapons. How many people do we lose in that process? I think a lot. I just don't think there's a reasonable way to get rid of all the weapons in the country. Therefore, my company is going to focus on educating as many of the people in the country as possible and praying that at least helps them get closer towards some solution where we can decrease the amount of violence in the country. Most of the people that I'm educating are not the ones committing the violence. But if we can start by educating about the gun laws, and then we can start educating about criminality and the psychology behind criminals, maybe, especially for the parents that have children who are going out and committing these acts, those are the ones we're going to focus on first, because those are the ones that might be the most preventable. if you have weapons in the house and you have kids that are in school, you need to be on a higher level of awareness that your kid could be the one that goes and does it. Yes, every parent wants to think that their kid won't do it, and then when their kid does it, I'm sure they all hit the same thing of, I did not think that my kid could do this. So we have to start assuming, if you have weapons and you have kids in the house, that your kids may be able to do this. Are your kids at all, like, we need to know what depression looks like in kids. We need to know what isolationism looks like in kids. We need to understand kids psychology more. And the older generation right now, they'll kind of rag on kids about, oh, they're soft, they're this and that. No, the kids are more aware. They're more self-aware. They're understanding. Sometimes they're a little too, they kind of abuse it in a way, but they're more aware of who they are, and parents need to get more aware of their kids and who they are to understand what symptoms in your kid might look like. Like, you think, oh, they're just being a teenager and they just want to be in their room. No, that might not be normal. Like, we should probably start to evaluate that a little further. You need to monitor. Oh, hello, join the fan club. I got another one. We need to evaluate, like, parents need to monitor their kids on social media. Like, for all the parents that are out there saying, like, oh, TikTok's ruining the youth and this and that. Well, then ban TikTok for your kid. You literally have control of their iPhone that you bought them. Ban TikTok. That is not a hard thing to do for a parent. Yeah, your kid might cry, but they'll get over it, I promise you. So we have to put more accountability on parents. We do have to put more accountability on parents to stop the school tragedies, because statistically they're roughly about 18 years old when they do it. Like, the mean age is about 18 years old. And I tried to get a list of 20. But the other issue with a lot of these school tragedies is a lot of times they're minor, so their records are sealed, so you don't get to know information about them. Which, again, like, we're more educated on serial unalivers than we are on school tragedies or school perpetrators. Well, we'll say that, school perpetrators, because the school perpetrators are usually children, so we don't get to learn as much about them. That's an issue. Like I said, we don't have many adults. The adults that do it, that are usually above the age of 20, are outliers. Most of them are, like, the one in Colorado that happened on the same day as Charlie Kirk. That kid was 16. Came out on the news that the kid was 16 years old. Like, all the laws I'm talking about don't even apply to a 16-year-old. So where did he get it from? Probably his parents. Like, parents need to be held to a higher standard. They need to understand what's going on more. Correct. I don't own any. FYI. After Australia seized guns, the violent crime shifted from being done by criminals with fire to being done by criminals with knives. Yes, I do agree with you. London does have the same issue, like, which is another thing. You could take the weapons away, but does taking the weapons away take the mentality of unaliving away? Like, the mentality of unaliving is still there. The pew is just the easiest thing to get it done with. Notice the only thing in common with criminals is not the tool we use. Well said. Parents need to spend more time with their kids. Yes. Would you rather watch a tree grow or... Yeah, you won't get me twice on that. I just bought a... Yeah, YouTube just has so many trolls on there. Oh, okay. So we got about an hour on here. I think that's roughly what I'm gonna keep some of these to. Roughly an hour. YouTube has a lot of trolls in there right now, which, I mean, I don't mind. At least I got some viewers right now. But I think we're going to, what time is it? 5:33? Yeah, because I actually still have to get posting to YouTube. So around 4:30 is typically when I'm gonna start these lives. And then around 5:30 to 6 is probably when I'll start ending these lives. So 4:30 to 5:30 is probably the times that you're going to be able to catch me, at least during the week. On the weekends, I work longer and later hours on weekends, so it's unlikely you'll get me on the weekends. But Monday through Friday, you will most likely get me 4:30 to 5:30 if I'm not teaching a class. If I am teaching a class, it'll be at a different time, in which I will try to tell you, but we will see if I am able to. So I will open up the floor for any last minute questions or anything that anybody wants to know. I appreciate those kind words, Green Tea. I really do appreciate those words. What is this stream about? This stream is about firearm laws and gun violence and how we can do something to actually curb it by having an educated conversation and learning about the actual laws on the books in every state that we live in. That is what this live is about. And then a couple of side rants and a couple of case law examples out of me as well. So that is what this is about. We are trying to, did you cover carrying in a vehicle with the new open carry guidelines? I am trying to talk about carrying in a vehicle, which we can go over. I still got time. The issue, let me tell you all about the issue here, because you bring up a good point. So, and I love you. Yeah, I still gotta get the podcast going more. Like y'all have probably seen the first few episodes, but um, it was just a process, and then YouTube sent me one way, and I was with NAS, and that sent me another way, and it was just a lot of confusion as I was getting things started. But talking about carrying in the vehicle because that is important. We need the lawmakers to write some make sense gun laws. Like let's just keep it in real easy language. Some make sense gun laws because I think there's a few contradictions that if they don't address, we will be left in confusion. One is what is a firearm in plain view? Is a firearm in plain view, is it a violation or is it okay? Our current car law 799.025 does not address it. It does not talk about a firearm being in plain view. It is assumed that the firearm is to be concealed because we're a concealed carry state, but it does not explicitly say so for in a car. And the criteria for a weapon inside of a car does usually differ than a criteria for a weapon or a firearm that is carried on your person outside of the car. So inside of the car usually has different criteria. They haven't really clarified that. In reference, so we did kind of talk about it, like in reference to the case of Adams in the third district court, where he was arrested for a pistol being on his passenger seat and charged with open carry. Again, a firearm in plain view that's not inside of a holster. What does that? I mean, you can't charge him with open carry anymore. You can't charge him with concealed carry. Do you charge him with improper storage violations, like the judge in the initial case said that he may be violating? We don't know. So honestly, for in the car, inside of a holster is your best bet. Put it inside of a holster, and usually you're going to beat anything else that starts to happen. It's a securely encased, I close, not really securely encased or not readily available. Yes, but does that still apply with open carry? Does it still apply? And for securely encased and not readily accessible, technically that only applies to 18 to 20-year-olds. Here's the reason why. Under under normal concealed carry laws, right? Permitless carry. Are you forced to conceal or to securely encase your weapon in order to conceal it? No, you're not. You are not obligated to put your firearm inside of a holster in order to walk around with it on your person. You're not obligated to have it not readily accessible in order to walk around with it under your person, as permitless carry states and as being able to carry states. So what permitless carry did is allow anybody who is 21 years old to have the same rules and regulations that a person that had a concealed carry license did. Therefore, the same law has to apply to them where securely encased and not readily accessible technically only applies to an 18-year-old, an 18 to 20-year-old. And that's just me being technical, which I really don't even know if that applies to them. I would assume so because there are still storage laws for inside of the car. But see you, John. Appreciate you for coming on the live. Um, but I would assume securely encased is still going to be the baseline criteria for having a weapon inside of a car. I don't know about the readily accessible portion of it. They may still keep that verbiage when it pertains to 18 to 20-year-olds, but I do think after they rewrite 799.53, they need to rewrite 799.025 because between permitless carry and now the open carry, there are too many contradicting laws that make the statute almost ineffective and confusing. Like, yes, you will be allowed to open carry inside of a car. What does that mean? Does it mean simply the firearm has to be on your person invisible in order for it to be open carried? Does it mean it has to be in the holster secured in order for it to be counted as open carried? Or can it just be literally in the cup holder and then we're good? That we don't know, and I can't give you any definite answer on. The only thing I could tell you 100% to do is to have the firearm inside of a holster. Put it inside of a holster. From that point forward, wherever else you decide to keep it, you should be fine. But outside of that holster, I do not know how they will write it, if they will write it, how police will enforce it, what charges they may bring up. Because beforehand, everybody was just getting charged with, concealed carry. If it was a gun in the car and they couldn't really see it, or there was anything, it's just a concealed carry charge. Once permitless carry left, the amount of people that told me they were getting open carry charges, I was surprised about. So, okay, if we're now can open carry, is there another charge on the backside that they're going to start to do? Yeah, why delete? Aren't you? Oh, yeah, YouTube's just trolling right now. I'm not even paying attention to YouTube for the most part. If somebody has a genuine question, then sure. I just want a mounted holster in the car and able to legally open. Yeah, so from this point forward, like if you have a mounted holster in the car, like yeah, you're good to go. Like I consider that good. I consider that to be well within the rights, well within standards. So mounted holster on a We the People thing, good to go now. Like all day long, good to go. It's just a firearm that's in plain view. Like For the long ones, for the long guns, we're good. But for the handguns, which the 7.9.25 really is particularly talking about a hand pew, I really don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to write it. So you can't carry a missile at 20 years old. And you cannot have it on your person inside of the car. So you can be in possession of it at 20 years old in the car. Excuse me. It can be in the center console. It can be the glove compartment. It can be in a zippered bag. A holster is my golden rule, and I think that's the first place you should put it, which is why I'm stressing it. It can be in any of those places I just mentioned. It just cannot be on your person. And I would assume under open, again, I would assume, this is not as a matter of fact, but I would assume under the open carry as it happens whenever they write it, if they continue to write that one under 790.025, that it will still not be allowed to be on your person unless they plan on changing the age to legally carry a firearm too, which I don't see them doing. Are you still doing classes? Yes, I'm still doing classes in Orlando. Any suggestions on where to buy a quality mounted holster for my car? We the People. We the People holsters. I believe they have some decent products out there. But other than that, not really. Like We the People, like I said, for me, just put it in the holster and then put it right in front of the seatbelt buckle, and like that's good enough for me. It's literally what hand like rides there on the center console, and then if you need to, like fingers are just right there tickling it anyway, so it's right there. You can have it under the center console. I mean, like wherever else you want, if you want to mount it in a special place, like you can do so. I'm just, I'm kind of cheap on mine, and I just choose to put it in the holster then right there. Safari does have a good one. Safariland does also make one. So I would say check out We the People if you want a mounted holster, We the People holsters, or Safariland. I will tell you Safariland will be a little bit more expensive. They are one of the industry standards companies. So when I say industry standards, I just mean like they're the company that if we need the highest quality product that we know will not fail us on duty, we will most likely go to Safariland. They're kind of being beat out by Alien Gear holsters too, but for the most part, it is Safariland. So you can't carry at 20. Oh, I just answered your question. Does this only apply to America or tourists as well? So wait, I believe it would only apply. That is a great question. Does it only apply to Americans or to tourists as well? I would assume it probably only applies to Americans. Like if you are somebody that is from a different country and you come here, I do not think you would be allowed to carry. But that is a brilliant question that I have not thought about. I know when I used to work in a range, we'd get people from like the UK all the time, and if they had a special, there's basically like a visa program. If their state signed a visa thingy with ours, and they could come here and they could use weapons inside of the gun range. But I don't know in terms of carrying. I have no idea. I won't even lie to you. I genuinely have no idea. That one I will look up and then get back to you. Probably make a video and talk about it because that's a very good point. Yes, it can be loaded. Absolutely. Again, securely encase is the best way to go. Securely encase it. Loaded varies state to state. Yes, it does vary state to state. It is not for Florida. It can be loaded. If you're in like North Carolina, it cannot be loaded or something like that. Why would you carry? Yeah, I don't know why anybody would, but for some people, like I forgot the state I was just looking at. I think it was Kentucky. In Kentucky, you can have it in the car, but it must be unloaded and secured. So depending on the state, it is a valid answer because just off what the state laws are. I'm back with nunchucks and stars. The brutal master back with nunchucks and stars. Well, I'm still rocking how I've been rocking, and your nunchucks and stars, I will raise you a 147. Here's article that says you can't carry. Okay, yeah, I kind of, so U.S. Title Code 18 922G says that you cannot carry as a temporary visitor. So for my brother over there on YouTube, if you are a visitor, no, it does not count for you, which is kind of what I figured, but you are allowed to at least go to a gun range and use them depending on the country that you are coming from. From London, we have none of this. So yes, if you're from London, you can come to a range here and you can go in there and have an experience. I literally taught people from the UK all the time. And it's funny because people from the UK would be like, oh, we don't like them, or, judge Americans and this and that and that and this. And it's like, do you know how many of you come over here just to use them? Like, y'all say this, but like, you don't understand. And here's another fun fact. The only reason in the UK and over, across the pond for the most part in Europe, I'll say the UK, not Europe, because Europe is quite large. In the UK, the reason that they do not have firearms like we do is because after the revolution, their government banned the citizens from having it, so they did not have another revolution happen on their hands. So, just a small little fun fact, the only reason that they don't have them there is because we took control of them here. And the UK government did not want that to happen again. Alien Gear holsters are legit as well. Yes, Alien Gear has become a much better company over the years. When they first came out, they were super bulky, and I wasn't about them, but a lot of PD departments have gone on to them because their level 3 beats Safariland. I have not used them myself, but how can I book with you again? You can go to my bio, and if you're since you're on TikTok, you can go to my bio and you can click the link that should take you to my booking page. If it does not take you to my booking page, go ahead and text me 407 501 8369, and you will be able to book a class with me. I'll send you all the information. You can ask me any questions if you text me at that number right there. Again, 407 501 8369. Text me there, and we can get you set up in any of the classes that you want. Yeah, I carry a Safariland, but I can't lie that the Alien Gear holsters, they do have a better mechanism. Like, if I don't hit my level 3 perfectly, I'm a struggle or be a little late out that holster for sure. Nice car and everything. Is there that girl that you see where training was the prettiest girl? Oh, I will tell her that you said so. That girl that you were training was the prettiest girl I've ever seen. I will tell her this. I will tell her that. We're gonna put her in more videos because y'all loved her. That is literally the strongest or the most viewed short I ever had, and I really wasn't even taught. Like, I wasn't even giving my best advice. That's the part. That's how I know, like, which nothing against y'all, but like I wasn't giving best advice. That it got like 100 something thousand views, and it's literally all because of her. All because of her. And y'all would probably love her too because she's a gamer girl. What do you think about this Charlie Kirk situation? Ooh. I will start by saying I do not condone political violence in any way, shape, or form, and that is not because they're going against people that are saying that. It's just I genuinely do not agree with it. I don't. I think it leads to a very slippery slope that is very hard to come back from. Some people have sent me some conspiracy theories in terms of the Charlie Kirk situation, but I'm not a big believer in conspiracies. Like, yes, there's some things that are completely out there. There's some things that are probably true, but there's always a middle ground. I do think, like, just to be transparent in it, I do think a lot of his language was extremely divisive. I do think he tailored his language towards a specific base instead of it being an inclusive type of thing. And I feel like to a degree they wanted to force their way of life and their thoughts on other people. But in like because of his rhetoric, I don't think that you should like I don't think that should ever happen there. But I do think some of his language was a little divisive and it was a little like there was moments and we kind of I guess and you can I'm just trying to remember because like I didn't follow him like super closely, but I would watch some of his debates and just hear and I'm like I don't agree with that opinion, I don't agree with that one. But like even his stance on like Israel, um, it started to change where it seemed like he was kind of questioning more. It was less of a defensive thing, and this is what other people are saying too. Again, I haven't seen all the things, but his opinion started to change there. When there was one point where I was literally saw a clip of him saying that like he does not recognize like Palestine, and it was like, what ethnicity is that? This or that, that or this, and it was like to not recognize Palestine is just completely absurd and intellectually dishonest. Like it is a whole country that was there before Israel was there. You have to recognize something that was literally there before. So it's just so tragic that somebody would do this simply because his words. I do think we need to learn more, but I don't agree with the actions that took place at all. I don't think anybody should ever do something like that. um yeah, I don't agree with that situation at all. I feel bad for him just because I wouldn't want to go out that way. Like I am, while I don't have nearly as big of a platform as him, it's like I speak my mind here. I don't want somebody to try to take that same energy and use it towards against me simply because I'm speaking my mind. Granted, my language is not nearly as strong as his, it's not nearly as divisive as his, in my opinion, but yeah, I do feel for his family. That is a terrible way to go out, and to have it televised and recorded that way is a tragedy, which is why I am very careful about my words, not out of fear of life, but as a fear of I believe words create reality. And if you speak certain things into existence or you believe certain things, they eventually I think they will happen. So that's how I feel about the Charlie Kirk situation. I hope we learn more about the individual and what goes on. And if this becomes one of those things where it's like the records are deemed classified or something like that, well, I mean, there goes your conspiracy theorist right there. A tourist from another country normally cannot legally carry a firearm. Oh, yes, this is for our tourist friend. So, yeah, you normally cannot legally carry a firearm inside of the US. unless they fall under a narrow exception like hunting with a valid license. So yeah, I guess if you're legally hunting, then you can. But again, it would be specific towards the hunting activity, nothing else. So that would be that. All right. I am about to head out of here. We have been on for 84 minutes, which is just a little bit over an hour. So that is longer than the last time I was on. TikTok, I will see you guys later. YouTube, I will see you guys later, but I will exit out of I will exit out of TikTok first. Um, so yeah, brother. Again, if you're still on here, crazy. Yeah, your whole name is, we're just going to say the first part of crazy. Text me 407-501-8369. And yes, it is very sad what happened. 501-8369 in order to book that class with me or get information, or just go to the link in my bio, and that's where you can get that done. TikTok, we are out. We have more work to do at the end of the day, so we cannot stay on for hours like Dean and the other kid does. So we're out TikTok. YouTube, you guys are the last ones. You guys are the last ones on here, and I appreciate all of you for being on here watching too. 18 of you are in here, and we had quite a few more earlier, so we will try to keep these going. I will be back with my sword and stars next time. All right, the brutal master. I would love to see you back. I do appreciate you for coming back, and I remember you. So yes, come back with your sword and nunchucks and stars, and again, I'll raise you a 147 at 2,000 feet per second and see what you can do against that. But I'm out of here, YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned because we have more videos coming. We have more information coming. The state of Palestine was founded in 1988. Stay safe, bro. Yeah, we'll just pick up this conversation later because I got more work to do. So I'm out, you guys. I appreciate you. Have a great day.